Welcome to a new video. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. The first story is called, "You Want My Job?" I was working as an IT head in a small company. Due to low sales and poor management, our director decided to micromanage everything from budget cuts and manpower. My team consisted of 3 people including me and was hit the hardest by their corporate decision. 2 people from my team had their contract end and didn't renew because 3 was a crowd, leaving me alone at my department. It was hard for me to meet their demands alone because our company strongly refused to upgrade our desktop units. It's 2019 and we still use Windows XP and Pentium 4 for office stuff. One day, our finance director, the older sister of our director, called me for a meeting. She wants me to use my looks for the marketing department and it was already approved by the director. I told them both that it wasn't my job, and being a current IT head, I told them to please reconsider. But the finance director had a brilliant idea. "You know, I have a background from IT as well. Maybe you should turn over the department to me together with all your administrator credentials so that you can now focus on your job as a new member of the marketing team." I was shocked. I asked, "You want all of my login credentials?" "Yes, all of them. I know how to use it. And I can also look online in case something goes wrong. Also, please hand over the server and network room key to me." "Okay, I will send you all of my login credentials. You can also look at the server room with the tools that I use." "Thank you. I will change its password right away. You are hereby we declare that you work with the marketing team for a corporate tour next Monday." Monday has passed and all I had to do at the corporate tour was to smile at our clients all day. I even wondered what is happening to our office. I looked at my company-owned phone and it was spammed with missed calls and messages from the now head of IT. I immediately turn off my phone and call it a day with my new colleagues from the marketing team. The next morning, she went full crazy mode on me. She was yelling at me that I didn't answer my phone. "Why didn't you answer your phone? Is it too hard for you to answer one?" "Sorry, but I put my phone in silent mode because we were in a meeting with our future clients. I don't want to leave them with a bad impression from us." "What's wrong?" "I tried to make changes to our firewall and everyone yesterday wasn't able to do their job. It seems that I blocked our internet connection and also 2 desktop unit cannot be opened. Can you fix it? I thought you know how to use it. You already have all of my administrator credentials, right?" "Yes, I have. But I want you to fix it. Can you do it?" "I can lend the credentials to you if you want." "Sorry, but it's not my job anymore. You can look online for the solutions, right?" "How can I look online for solutions if we can't even browse the internet?" "Sorry, but that's not my problem anymore. I'm sure you can do it as a new IT head. But I need you to." "Sorry, I have to go. The client is waiting for me. Good luck." Later that evening, I received an email from the director to fix it. I replied with gentle words of saying, "No, fix it yourself. I'll be submitting my letter of resignation soon. I am tired of their stupid stunts already." The next story is called, "Just Not Where You Expected." Over the early 2000s, we parceled up and sold a bunch of our old farmland for property development, creating a little cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac was at the bottom of a steep hill and parallel to it was a main road that went down to a beach at the very bottom of the hill. Between the cul-de-sac and the main road was a set of apartments we rented out, their gardens and the beach shortcut. The beach shortcut was an old gate, about the width of a person, a sort of a back entrance to the property from the days of yore. This allowed people coming up from the beach on foot access without having to go all the way to the top of the steep hill to the main entrance. We left this area undeveloped and retained ownership of it, creating a small green belt and shortcut to the residents of the cul-de-sac and the apartments. This belt was about 20 feet wide and 60 feet long. The kids from one of the families in the cul-de-sac started using it as a play area. They'd play ball games there, which sometimes resulted in balls getting kicked out onto the road and down the hill. This family was overall a huge cause of trouble. They lived right at the very bottom of the cul-de-sac and were terrible for paying maintenance fees late and complaining about the other residents. Anyway, we kind of let this slide until the family asked if we could put a gate on the entrance to stop the kids from going out on the road after their ball. Now, this request presented a few problems. Mainly, the kids would likely just jump over the wall and get out there anyway. We suggested that maybe they could tell their kids just not to play on our property. But the family refused, stating that it was up to us to make it safe for their kids. The thing is, this is a fair point. If the kids fell or injured themselves in the area, then we'd probably be liable. So we kind of had to comply, but not only that. We had to make sure the kids were not in danger on our property at all. We actually had to go a step further than they anticipated. We had to fence the kids out of our property entirely. So we fenced off the entire green belt from the cul-de-sac. A huge 8-foot wooden structure with a door and a key code on it. We informed them that the door was to separate our private property from the public area and the code was only given to the apartment residents. And to cul-de-sac residents we like better than that family, but they don't know that. So, not only were their kids prevented from playing there entirely, the family no longer had access to the shortcut and had to climb the steep hill out to the main gate when going to and from the beach. In fact, this extended trip arguably made it more dangerous for the kids, as now they had to spend longer on the road and pass a pretty busy T-junction during these trips. The moral of the story is that if you have a neighbor that turns a blind eye to you using a part of their property, don't make it hard to keep turning that blind eye. The third story is called Sure Thing. About 2 years ago I was flying from Australia to Canada to return home from a summer work placement. I was gearing up for a 24-hour flight and luckily, I'm the type of person who is always worried about being late. I showed up 5 hours early for my flight to make sure any problems I had could be sorted out with time to spare. When I arrived at the airport, I headed for the bag check desk. The airline I flew down on had a rule where you could check one bag and take 2 carry-ons onto the plane with you. One for the overhead compartment and a smaller one for under the seat in front of you. Every airline I've ever flown on operates like this, so I figured it's a standard thing. I confidently approached the desk with a larger backpack on my back, a smaller backpack in my hand, and my suitcase in the other hand. I set the small backpack down on the floor and begin checking in my suitcase. All is fine and I watch it disappear down the conveyor belt. I pick up my smaller bag and start to head to the security line when the bag check lady calls to me. "Excuse me, sir." I turned around confused. "Yes? What's up? I didn't see that you have a second bag. We have to weigh your carry-ons if you are bringing 2 to make sure they don't weigh too much." "Okay, that's not a problem. I'm happy to do this as I've never had a carry-on weight problem before." I guess the airline I was flying back on had different baggage rules than the one I flew in on because both of the bags I put on the scale were way overweight for the carry-on guidelines. I hadn't overpacked either. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I remember the weight limit for carry-ons being surprisingly small. She said, "I'm sorry, your bags are too heavy." What am I supposed to do? My suitcase is already gone, so I can't rearrange. International flights get a second bag checked for free. If you can get one bag underweight, we can check the other one, no problem. My bags were packed as much as humanly possible with things I had acquired while in Australia. I had gone there partly as part of a sports team and was given all my gear once I landed in Australia, not in Canada. Long story short, there wasn't enough room in any one bag to fit enough stuff to get a second bag underweight. Checking both bags would have cost me about $500. It's important to say that the bag check lady was actually very helpful. She showed me where I could buy additional luggage. Unfortunately, this was not possible because the last of my money was spent on the flight home. She also offered to get me a cardboard box, but it was far too small and broke almost immediately. After about 2 hours I start running out of options and hope. I'm just about to start throwing out my heavy things when I look around the airport for inspiration. In this airport, there were some small shops and services on the inside of the main doors, like coffee shops and small electronics stores, classic airport stuff. One of the shops is a wrapping station, where you can get a suitcase wrapped in plastic so that it doesn't open during the flight. Cue malicious compliance. I begin taking out the stuff I would need for the flight and cram the rest of my stuff back into the backpacks. I take the 2 bags to the wrapping guy and offer to pay him double to wrap the 2 things together until they are functionally one thing. He gives me a strange look but works it out pretty well, even leaving a handle sticking out so I can carry the monstrosity relatively easily. I go back to the bag check and tell the lady that I'd like to check a second bag before placing the heap of plastic onto the scale. She looks at me confused. "What is this?" "Technically, it's one bag." She looks at me like she's trying to hold back laughter as she weighs it. Thankfully, it's under the weight limit for checked baggage. My one bag goes down the conveyor and I head to security. The last story is called No Cup of Water. I used to work at a major fast food chain as a manager. My boss was a franchise owner who was strict with the inventory. I was in charge of inventory and putting in our orders. We had this gentleman who came in frequently. He would ask for a cup for water and once in a blue moon, he would find enough change for some food. He came in at the same time every single day. He was very polite and nice to all of us. Well, my boss started to get really strict one day about us giving this guy a cup for water. The worst part of the new policy? It only applied to this guy. I watched my boss willingly give other people cups for water. Now, this didn't fly with me. I tried to have a discussion with him and he began laughing and said if he wants a cup, he must pay the 30 cents for the cost of the cup. That's when I realized he was getting close to his bonus. So, if his inventory and waste was within a certain percentage, he would get a bigger bonus. One day he tells the guy that he can't have a cup for water and we aren't a charity. I had enough of his stupid policy and hatched a plan with my coworkers. Now, my boss allowed a certain dollar amount of food to be redeemed free of charge based on how long your shift was. For example, if you worked 6 hours you got $7 worth of food. So wouldn't you know, suddenly, every single worker used up every single penny we could for each shift. Too bad we were full and just had this extra food we happily gave away to our water guy. We also would go get a drink, change our mind, and give our water guy our drink that had anything but water in it. A few of us clumsy workers might have dropped some product by accident, causing waste to go up. I might have had to switch shifts with a coworker who isn't good at inventory and tends to screw up numbers. My boss realized we were giving him our cups and raising food and waste costs. To his dismay, he couldn't stop us from getting the full meals and giving part of our food away. Nor could he stop me from switching shifts without his permission. His policy was that both managers could switch as long as they put it in writing via text or signing the slips. What a shame that his inventory got incredibly messed up. Too bad he didn't change his policy back quick enough to reconcile his inventory in time for his bonus not to be cut. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.